Ricky.
It really is. Yes.
So today we have our very, very first look at Generation 8 Pokemon in the form of Pokemon Sword, Pokemon Shield, and Pokemon Gun.
Pokemon Gun. Everyone's favorite third version.
Everybody loves it. So Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield are the very first Pokemon games to come out on a home Nintendo console in the core franchise, which is, well, it depends. Technically, there is a case to be made that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are core games. I don't think so, personally.
The Pokemon Company even made that distinction. They said that, I think there was some outcry after they announced that the Switch debut for Pokemon was going to be the Let's Go games.
Yeah.
And they said something like, a core Pokemon RPG will be coming next year.
Okay.
And it's now that year, and now we know what it is.
Well, thank God for that.
Sword and Shield.
So Sword and Shield are taking place in a region called the Galar, or is it Galar?
I believe it's Galar.
Galar. Okay, the Galar region, which is apparently modeled after the UK, which our good friend Tom must love. And it looks like a Pokemon game. I mean, this is about what I expected from a Pokemon game. It looks great. It's not hyper realistic. The gameplay that we have seen so far, the battles, which are we've seen like 5 seconds of footage. It looks like Pokemon.
It looks very much like Pokemon.
I mean, it is Pokemon. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, depending on who you ask. I mean, for me personally, I mean, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have been making money hand over fist for 20 years with the same formula. Today. 23 years today with the same formula. And I don't imagine they would want to change that. But
no,
some people aren't very happy with the lack of innovation that Pokemon Sword and Shield have. We're going to get into that a bit more into detail later into this. I don't necessarily share that sentiment.
Got it.
But that being said, I mean, this game looks great. You have the new starting Pokemon. You have what, Grookey? Is it Grookey or Grokey?
I believe it's Grookey.
Grookey.
I could be wrong.
It's too much like Froakie. That freaks me out a bit. He's a little grass monkey. That funky monkey. Grass monkey. I think our audience is too young for the Beastie Boys.
There's going to be like a handful of people that really appreciate you saying that, a smaller percentage who've seen it already, and then everyone else is just going to be scratching their head. Great. Much like a monkey.
That funky monkey. All right, yeah, look up Brass Monkey. But yeah, he's cool. He's got a stick in his hair that he apparently can take out and whip people with, which is great. He is, in my opinion, the best of the 3 starters, but we'll get into that in a moment. I'm on Team Grookey, Gronky, whatever. You have the Bunny Boy, which is named Score Bunny, which in my opinion looks like a reskin of Chespin.
It's definitely like it has the Chespin face, and I think that's not a bad thing. I wasn't big on Chespin because of the green headgear thing. I just wasn't a fan. Yeah. Take away that, put it on, make this rabbit, and I'm on board. I like Score Bunny. So it's definitely my favorite of the 3.
Score Bunny was my favorite until I started looking at him too much like Chespin.
He's got a Band-Aid on his nose. He's really like Shenmue.
Oh my God. Or Nelly.
Right.
I think I'm dropping the 90s references tonight, man. It's a 90s references type of episode.
That's when Pokemon started.
That's true.
More than appropriate.
So Score Bunny apparently has fire feet, which is great. Yes. He is a bunny that scorches the ground. What an original name. Score Bunny. And finally,
we had a Pokemon called Litten, just a few years ago.
That's true. He was lit. And then finally, the patron saint of Pokemon for me, the depressed boy, Sobble.
Sobble. Like Sob. Yeah. Sobble is probably the universal favorite I've seen. It seems like the most popular one, mostly because everybody want to protect him. I mean,
millennials are depressed by default.
Right.
So
they identify with it.
Yeah, I'm a millennial. I'm depressed. I'm not hating on anybody out there. I mean, I'm just saying why this guy's so popular.
I go the other way. I look at Scorbunny and I say, gosh, I wish I could be that happy. I need to have that in my life.
He protect, he attack.
He hot.
So those are the three starters. Yes. There has been wide admiration and wide criticism for all three of these, which I think we can get into, I guess, right now at this point. So with anything, especially with anything as big as Pokemon, we get into these situations where nothing's ever good enough for certain members of the community. No matter what Nintendo and Game Freak could have announced, I don't think it would have been enough to fulfill the wildest dreams of many Pokemon fans. That being said, the criticisms that we're seeing so far are that the Pokemon look the same kind of round face, or they look like reskins. And I will say that all three of these look oddly similar. And Happily Candied has been discussing this with me tonight. We're at a point where there's over 800 Pokemon, and it's going to get to a point with animation where a lot of the features, especially like the bigger eyes and the mouths, they're going to share traits with other existing Pokemon. It's just the way it is.
Yes.
So from that perspective, I'm fine with it. But a lot of people are just complaining about how this looks. So I'm curious to see, number one, you know that I'm on team Grookey, Gronky. I think he looks great. I think he looks original. I can already tell what this guy's going to look like when he's a full-grown boy.
You're going to call this one original when there's already been a grass chimpanzee in the past?
I don't care. Look at him. He's got like
he does look.
He's got like a bird bill.
I'll give him that.
He's great. I love this thing. He's got a stick that you know is going to get bigger with him, that he's going to like use to just beat people down. I was about to say a different. I was going to say a curse word, but I decided against it. But I like him. Out of all of these, I think Scorbunny is the least inspired. But I'm gonna go ahead in Ace Attorney style, allow you to defend yourself and your choice for such a generic Pokemon.
So first off, just like I said right now, there have been rabbit Pokemon in the past, like we have Baniri and Lopunny. I feel like Scorbunny is a different take on that. It does have the Chespin face, and I recognize that. But there's just something about it. I like its coloration. I like that it's, unlike most fire starters, it's pretty much pure white with just orange trim. I like that from a design standpoint. I am a fan of the Band-Aid on the nose, and then it's integrated. It's got the same pads on its feet. That's got people talking that maybe that's where its fire comes from. So there's a lot of potential there. And for me, it's also the potential of it as it grows. I really do want to see like a badass rabbit Pokemon. I think that's going to be great. I don't know if I can say that word. I just did anyway. Yeah. We have like Mega Lopunny?
Yeah.
Lopunny's fine. I have no problem with Lopunny, but I want to see like what they can do in a different direction. There's more to pull from the rabbit well.
He looks like a dollar store cereal mascot.
And cereal is good, okay? I like cereal.
I like cereal too. I'm not saying I don't.
I can definitely see where some of the criticism is coming in. That said, to me, it's easily the cutest of the three, and a lot of times that's kind of what drives it for me.
Yeah.
I had like a hard knee-jerk cute reaction to Rowlet and Fennekin, and I think even all the way back with Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil was like by far my favorite starter of any generation. I will admit, this is not at that level. Scorbunny is nowhere near what like Cyndaquil got out of me, or even what Fennekin or especially Rowlet got out of me.
I mean, this is the 8th iteration of starters, and we're at a point where they're not all going to be winners. and they're not all going to be the most original, and that's fine. And I'm being way too hard on Score Bunny. I'm sorry, Score Bunny. I'm sorry, Score Bunny fans. I really am. He's not that bad.
I mean, you can dislike it. That's why there's 3 of them. Pick the one that you like. For me, fire types have an inherent appeal, and I think that Score Bunny has a lot of room to grow. Yeah. And it's a cheerful little bouncy bunny, and I'm into that.
He is. He looks a little like the Trix mascot, which is fine.
That's perfectly
I'm good with
fine.
that. But there's just something about Grookey. Grookey.
You like Grookey Kong?
Gronky. I love him to death. He's my little boy, and I just want to swaddle him in a blanket and
on the flip side,
take him with me.
I think that Grookey is like the least appealing out of all of these. I just look at it,
and you're wrong.
Why?
And that's fine. You're allowed to be wrong, Ricky. That's fine. We live in America where you can be wrong.
Stop this Planet of the Apes. I want to get off.
Okay, Troy McClure.
You're going to name yours Dr. Zaius. I know it. You have to now.
I might.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're spending the least amount of time on poor little Sobble. Sobble.
At least I can say its name right. I think Sobble is fine. The thing is about Sobble is you look at it and we've pretty much said what there is. It's like a water lizard chameleon thing. It can disappear. Yep. He's got a very sad face, and I think the sad face makes it cute. But it is just like 80% face with what we've seen.
He's got a glove on his head.
It's basically like they're taking a lot of design cues, I think, from Mudkip on that, like on the head fin thing.
Yeah.
And that's not bad. Mudkip was a fine Pokemon, but we'll see. I think Sobble is very cute, and I do like it. I just like Scorbunny more.
I just hope as he evolves, he becomes more and more depressed. Yes, and honestly, if he does that, he's more relatable. Where he gets to a point where he just stays invisible, but then he just eats a lot and gets fat. And then by his 3rd evolution, he just dies.
I don't know. I mean, Water and Ghost is like a valid typing. So
I think it is.
Do that, I suppose.
It would fit our current climate.
I just hope we don't get another Fire and Fighting. That is my one wish with Scorbunny. Like, don't do that.
He looks like a fighter, to be honest.
Well, he looks like a footballer. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from it. Like, he's got sort of cleats.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And that would fit the region. But that's just, like, that direction's fine because they haven't done that before.
Yeah.
And if they do it well, that could be fine. I saw some people making some ideas of, like, okay, maybe they'll pull from more, like, Japanese ideas of how rabbits are, and like that's cool, like give it a mochi pestle or something like that. But really, it's just, I think that it has a lot of room to grow as long as it doesn't just, okay, it kicked good, so it fighting.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I really don't.
I don't know. We're gonna see.
Yeah.
So from a starter's perspective, I think the final thing that I'm gonna say on it is I am not disappointed. All 3 of these I feel like have merit. I love at least one of these, which is great. The last generation, I was not in love with any of them, which I know that you might be devastated for me to say that because you're Team Rowlet all the way.
I love me some Rowlet, but yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of this, though, is like there are 800 of these. Even if you don't like your starter, you'll catch something that you do like shortly.